Good evening, everyone. This is Octavius Prime here. Today, we're going to go into a few topics. We're going to talk about, first, we're going to start off about the Barack Obama and Michelle Obama depiction that was put out by the White House within the last 48 hours by Donald Trump. One of his staffers did take the post down, the video down, as Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as monkeys, depicted as monkeys. What we have to understand is this is dehumanizing imagery, and because it's dehumanizing imagery of one of the most successful, what we would call in the United States, regardless of where they're from, what we would call African American people of color, especially Michelle Obama being a foundation African American. Those two being depicted as monkeys, as savages, is it's pretty much showing how these people really feel about us. And it's also Black History Month, which Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, when they were in office, we celebrated. Biden, we celebrated it. I'm not here to be a Trump critic, but ever since we had Trump, we got Ron DeSantis. They have removed a lot of imagery that celebrates different cultures and different mindsets here in Florida and here nationwide. They call it woke. All right. So what they posted using our system, using our tax dollars, getting paid our tax dollars as public servants, what they're doing, they're depicting African American people, two of the most successful African Americans in U.S. history as far as going the highest in politics. Our former president and first lady, Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. All right. And Barack Obama was our president in 2008. He served 2 terms. He was a 2-term president back to back, not split in half like Trump. But this is just what they do, right? So I just want you guys to understand the seriousness of it. So we're going to react to some news today. Please hit the like button in the meantime. How you doing, honey gangster goddess? Daniel Berry Sports, what's good? All right, so let's get into it.
An election conspiracy video that included this racist image. As you can see, the faces of former President Barack Obama, the former First Lady Michelle Obama, are put onto. Moments ago, the president deleted this post with this image. A senior White House official tells CNN a White House staffer erroneously made the post. It has been taken down. Now, that was after.
So they're saying that a White House staffer made the post. I guess they're trying to shift the blame from Donald Trump. So we'll move forward, and I want y'all to understand and listen to that. So we just reacted to the news about it, and then we're going to get into Prince Albert, the Epstein Files, Princess, I keep saying Prince Albert, Prince Andrew, okay, Prince Andrew, the Epstein Files. We're going to get into that. All right.
Republican Senator Tim Scott, the only Black Republican senator, responded to the video on social media, writing, quote, "Praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it." Now, it does seem like the president or somebody in the White House listened because, as we said moments ago, it was deleted from the president's handle.
So the only Republican that came out and spoke against it or had anything to say was Tim Scott. So this is a Black Republican right here. So he came out to speak against it. I mean, everybody else couldn't be bothered. They can't be bothered. Moderators, just let people rock out. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be some racist comments. It's going to be all kind of wild stuff. The internet is open to come through and do whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they get too crazy using N-words, you know what I'm saying? You know what to do. All right? But let's move forward. So they just had a token Black man from the Republican Party come out. And see, this is the thing about it. Most Black people are conservatives. I have strong leanings to the Republican Party as far as morals and family morals and things like that. But the contradiction is you have racists in the Republican Party that push these type of narratives and tropes and want black people to be subhuman, tie it back to the Constitution, saying that, you know, black people are 3/5 of a human and all that kind of stuff, you know, when science says different, actually. So let's play it.
On his social media platform. Now, it is worth noting, Senator Scott is usually a very close and is a close Trump ally. He also leads the Senate Republican campaign arm, which means his job is to get GOP senators elected and reelected this November. I'm joined by a terrific group of reporters here. Elena, I want to go to you first because you've been doing reporting on this, and just give some context about the time of day, this time of night this was. The White House is now, and this is just developing like in the last few minutes, the White House is now saying, just to underscore that was your reporting, that it was a staffer who did this. This was part of a series of posts and reposts from this president last night. And I just want to know from you, is this something that a staffer does at 11:30 or midnight on a typical day, or is it usually the president himself?
Yeah, it's hard to buy, to be honest, because 11:44 p.m. is when this was initially reposted by the president in a series of other posts, as you pointed out, Dana. Typically, very few people actually have access to the president's Truth social account. A lot of the times, they'll write him statements, and then they'll bring them, to example, to Dan Scavino, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, and he's the one who will then go on and post it. So just so you know how it typically...
So I want to say how this ties into the Epstein Files. As you remember, Jeffrey Epstein, when he was getting his people to go out and look for the little girls, and we're going to also show Prince Andrew, victim. So I'm going to react to Prince Andrew's victim that was shown on 60 Minutes Australia. So we're going to react to that. So you get to see one of the victims, all right, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman. And I want y'all to see how racism even played into the victimization of Caucasian white women and white girls, little girls. All right. So, and it's also stated that most white racist men are pedophiles. You know what I'm saying? A huge majority of them that are racist, a staunch racist, they tie into pedophilia as well. Okay. So let's move forward.
Works with these truths. So that seems kind of far-fetched. The other thing I would remind you is that we did see a statement from Caroline Leavitt.
Let me put that up. Let me put that up. So this is before somebody at the White House took that down after Tim Scott put out the statement that he did. This is Caroline Leavitt. This is from an internet meme video depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King.
Thank you so much for subscribing.
Please stop reporting the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public.
I was very surprised when I saw that statement, honestly, because if you actually look at the post, what I would have assumed, just knowing this White House and covering them as long as I have, I would have assumed that they would have claimed it was at the very end that clip showed of the Obamas, that they would have tried to say he didn't see it and try to discount it that way. That post almost seemed like they were owning up to it and saying, yeah, you know, there's nothing wrong with it, trying to dismiss the outrage. The other thing I want to say, too, is you mentioned, you know, what we heard from Tim Scott this morning. He is one of the president's closest allies. He talks to President Trump all the time, very regularly, multiple times a week.
For a lot of Republicans that are in the chat, and there's a lot of y'all that's here, I want to let y'all know this is one of the reasons why you don't have a huge African-American support system. It's not that there are a lot of hardworking African-Americans that believe in capitalism, believe in family values, that are pro-family, you know, pretty much have the same ideology that you have, but racism is was the stumbling block of the Republican Party. All right. So it's even him reposting this and not understanding that, okay, this is racist. And I think he did know it was racist, but also look at Black History Month is pretty much not being recognized. I went downtown at Commodore Street. They had Black History paintings because that area was created. That spot in Commodore Street here in West Palm Beach and in Palm Beach County. It was basically founded by African Americans. So it was paying homage. The art was paying. They removed all of it. All right. They removed all of it. They removed some of the LGBT stuff. As you already know, Black Lives Matter has been painted over. And we see the motivation behind it.
So what he said, I wouldn't be surprised if he had called him. I did talk to some of my sources on Capitol Hill, one of them telling me that Republican lawmakers were calling the president about this. I know that people inside the White House were also asking the president, how do you want to handle this? So this clearly became much bigger this morning, particularly around all of the criticism that came out from his strongest allies.
And Zolan, you also cover the White House. I want to add, we talked about Tim Scott, which was pretty fast and very, very strong, calling it racist. This is from Roger Wicker, who is also a Republican senator, senior Republican senator, who said on social media, this is totally unacceptable. The president should take it down and apologize. We haven't heard apologize.
I'll hold my breath. If I hold my breath, I'm dead. Waiting on Trump to apologize for what he did. All right. I mean, you got Epstein, you know, and you got Representative Lou out there saying that Trump in the Epstein Files was accused of rape and murder. Okay, that's what Representative Lou, not Octavius Prime, saying. So if y'all like me triggering you, hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button. You know, be a capitalist, okay? Let's not be a socialist all your life and just want free stuff, okay? And I want you guys to hit that subscribe button, that like button very much. Thank you so much. We'll move forward.
Ricketts, another Republican senator, even if this was a Lion King meme, a reasonable person sees the racist context to this. The White House should do what anyone does when they make a mistake, remove this and apologize. So remove it, yes. Apologize, not yet.
Remove it eventually, right? I mean, when this was really coming into the spotlight this morning, as you saw, you had Caroline Levitt's statement there kind of belittling this as fake outrage. And they didn't initially, you know, delete it when they were faced with immediate questions. Yes, they have now. And talking to historians and, you know, just other people reacting to this post, you do hear people saying that those with common sense would see this as a racist trope, right? That it channels the minstrel depictions that you would see from slave traders and segregationists that sought to dehumanize Black Americans, particularly prominent Black Americans as well, to see them as inhuman, right? And I think that's why you're seeing this outrage, including cracks in a Republican base and Republican members of Congress that seldom criticize this White House. It's also just worth saying, like, this is definitely something that has seemed to provoke criticism we don't usually see, but the president does have a history of posting and saying derogatory things about people of color, of immigrants. It wasn't too long ago, he went on a xenophobic tirade against Somalis as well, and Somali Americans.
Yeah, he said Somalia is not even a country, they're a bunch of pirates.
During the campaign, we remember the comments, the false comments about Haitians eating pets as well, that I know prompted a lot of fear in that.
Yeah, he said that Haitian eats cats. He was saying stuff like Haitian eat cats or whatever.
Community. So, you know, this is a president also whose political rise came about from questioning the citizenship of the former president as well. So, you know, you've seen that the standards have almost been lowered to the point where you can see these kind of posts and a White House that thinks they can also talk their way out of it and say it was, you know, a staffer that posted it. But
so the staffer need to be fired. So let's call for the staffer to be fired because that's not America first. Okay? It's not America first. All right. So we went into that. So we're going to react to Papa Trump, racist Trump, and him and Senator Graham kissing booty, as he always does, you know, with his Trump hat, America first and everything like that. But we're going to play that. We're going to react to the statements that Trump made today about his success on the ICE and his plans on ICE, all right? Because I know y'all love ICE. Y'all love the ICE thing.
So, Mr. President, stick to your guns. Because 12 states have sanctuary policy, they'll keep coming. Unfortunately, you won't be president forever. Stephen Miller. It's not Chrissy Nome. It's not me. It's not you. It's policies that have been on the books that don't work.
I can't believe in Minnesota that they want to have murderers walking all over the streets. I just don't believe it.
They was accusing you of that too, Trump.
What exactly did you mean when you said that you should nationalize elections? And which 15 states are you talking about?
I want to see elections be honest. And if a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it. Because, you know, if you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway. But when you see some of these states about how horribly they run their elections, what a disgrace it is, I think the federal government, when you see crooked elections, and we had plenty of them, and by the way...
Hold up now. I thought, yeah, the electoral college, especially when it comes to electing the president, supposed to be responsible for putting the president in office. Am I correct? I don't know. And I think they're like elected from the states. So they're like representatives of each state. They give electoral votes from each state in order to put the president in office, especially. So he's saying that he wants to basically take over the elections process, had the federal government, which he runs right now, take over the election process, because I think he wants to run again.
We had them last time, but go to 2020 and look at the facts that are coming out. Rigged, crooked elections. If we have areas, take a look at Detroit, take a look at Pennsylvania, take a look at Philadelphia. You go take a look at Atlanta. Look at some of the places that horrible corruption on elections. And the federal government should not allow that. The federal
moderators, just let them speak freely. If it's not nothing that words they're using derogatory, I don't care about them being racist right now. Just let us speak freely if they're coming in. All right. You know, we may not agree with everything they're saying, but, you know, I want to be an independent platform because I can care less about a Republican or a Democrat. You know what I mean? They all content for me. Okay. Anyway, let's go. Hit that like button, subscribe, keep it popping.
Government should get involved. These are agents of the federal government to count the votes. If they can't count the votes legally and honestly, then somebody else should take over.
The Constitution says it should be states that administer elections, Mr. President.
Yeah,
That's what the Constitution
you know what?
says.
They can administer the election, but they have to do it honestly.
Are you open to negotiating on warrants when it comes to ICE? This is an ask from Senator Schumer. Requiring search warrants for ICE and immigration officials.
I haven't even thought of it. I'm not thinking about search warrants. Yeah, Lindsey Graham is going to answer that.
Okay, so Lindsey Graham going to come in. Now, what they're pretty much saying, this is something I have to be fair about when it comes to search warrants for illegal immigrants. Now, if you're staying with an American citizen, you're invading their home, that's a problem. That's in the Constitution. You're not even supposed to give any soldier, special federal government, any officer's quarter. You can't just come take your home over. Okay. So the thing about this, you got to think about human rights. This is a human rights thing, because they're more like on the level of international law, because they're not American citizens. They don't have the same rights as American citizens. All right. So there is something with that, with the search warrants and things like that. So if you give a search warrant, okay, they know that you're coming. Okay, they got a search warrant and whatnot. And it can be kind of difficult depending on where you are in the country. A judge got to sign for the warrant to even be instated. So things like that, it makes it a lot more difficult. So it is a hot debate when it comes to that. I'm interested to see how they want to work that out as far as law and constitution, right?
No, makes no sense. If we have to get a search warrant to get 15 million people out, Schumer's telling me he doesn't want them out. It's the most ridiculous idea. They do have some good ideas, I think. But I've got a better idea. It's your idea. In sanctuary cities. On immigration, I know what I'm talking about. I've got the scars to prove it. Y'all are playing like Biden didn't exist. Y'all won't tell the American people about Laken Riley. It's a one-sided debate. For 4
So when y'all criticize for me talking contrary, just listen to him, okay? He a whole senator, okay?
years, our border was obliterated. They let them come in by the tens of millions, and they want to go back that way. We're not going. So, Mr. President, stick to your guns. If you got reforms that make ICE better, more professional, talk to me. But you should embrace what I'm suggesting. As long as 12 states have sanctuary policy, they'll keep coming. Unfortunately, you won't be president forever. These magnets of illegal immigration have to go. There is no upside to sanctuary city unless you're a complete radical nut job. The cops hate it, fraud around sanctuary cities, and you're going to get more illegal immigration. We're going to have a debate. I've been trying to solve this problem, but what the Democrats are doing is they're not getting to the underlying problem. It's not Stephen Miller. It's not Chrissy Nome. It's not me. It's not you. It's policies that have been on the books that don't work. So if you want a debate on how to solve this problem, show up next week. I'm going to take President Trump.
So a far-right conspiracy is that this is what a lot of people are understanding about this immigration thing. It's about who's going to rule the country in the next 50 years, okay? Will it be the continuance of white hegemony? And for those that don't know what I'm saying when I say that, basically, mainly white people, Anglo-Saxons, Europeans running the country as they have been running the country since, you know, the beginning of the country, okay? So this is very dear to the far right's heart when it comes down to getting rid of these immigrants. All right. And so a lot of these Republicans, they're going to fight hard. They want to stay in power. Trump understands that. He's even feeding into racist tropes based off what we've seen on the post of Barack and Michelle Obama. These are dog whistles to say, I see you. I understand the mission. OK, in my opinion, that's just me. In my opinion. OK, so for those that don't understand really what's going on, they're thinking about their grandkids. They don't want their grandkids listening to President Garcia's. Okay? That's just my thought and my conspiracy on it. And David Duke has also talked about that years ago as well. All right?
Trump's idea that it's time to end the insane policy of sanctuary cities. We're going to take it to the floor and we're going to vote. And people in November are going to get to see who they trust to keep the border secure. Schumer or Trump? I'm with Trump.
Mr. President. And by the way, I hope you're going to press that very hard. And the other thing, we are not, well, we are with you. I think everybody's with you. It's a sanctuary for criminals. That's who it is. They could make our lives so much easier. All they have to do is hand over their criminals, hand over people that came into our country illegally that are murderers, that came out of jails, that came out of mental institutions, that are drug dealers. I can't believe in Minnesota that they want to have murderers walking all over the streets. I just don't believe it. Maybe somebody says it's good politics. I don't think it's good politics. I think it's really bad. The other thing we can't lose sight of is you probably have in Minnesota, and it's
Thank you so much, Cassie,
in
for
some places like California.
Thank you so much, Cassie. You've been a great moderator.
$19 billion in fraud. And we're going to find out, you know, we're very deep into that investigation. But we're not going to forget that. A lot of people think that a lot of this nonsense that's going on is to try and, hide what's going on with respect to the fraud. They have at least $19 billion. You know, you're hearing 9. Now I'm hearing it's 19, and it's probably much more. So it's
How come I can't get on that $19 billion of fraud? Like, come on, look out for your boy. Like, you know what I mean? I can barely get a cash app. I could barely get y'all to subscribe to the channel.
They talk about incompetence. I think it's not incompetence. I think it's just pure fraud. These are dishonest people. They're bad people. I think they hate our country. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. But don't let this hide the fact that you have tremendous fraud. And, you know, if we find the fraud in this country, you'll have a balanced budget without even cutting anything. You'll literally have a balanced budget. Yeah, please.
Have you been briefed on Savannah Guthrie's mom missing in Arizona?
I think it's terrible.
Would you commit to more federal agents like helping out on the search?
Sure, I would. I'm going to call her later on. I think it's a terrible thing. But they are negotiating. They'd like to do something, and we'll see if something is going to be done. They had a chance to do something a while ago, and it didn't work out, and we did Midnight Hammer. I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to...
Brief any specifics?
Well, we have a secure border. In fact, we have 9 months now where nobody has come into our country illegally. Now, I don't know if I can believe that, because, you know, you go from 25 million people to nobody, but the Democrats do that. You know, they're leaning left, the people that do that report. And for 9 months, they have said nobody has come into it. It is a strong, great border. We do have people coming into our country, but they're all coming in legally.
All right, so we're gonna skip ahead on that, y'all. And we're going to get into more of the Epstein issues with Peter Mandelson and the King of Kink, Prince Andrew. Okay? So there was a very important documentary.
If you see what I mean,
and there was a very important documentary done on Prince Andrew. All right, but we'll get into that. But one of the things I'm going to play is we're going to talk about the Prince Fergie, how she went down to Miami and spent time with Epstein, and I'm gonna let the newscaster, anchor this, and I'll react to it. I don't want to speak on it bad because these are millionaires, and they could probably get my last 5 cents, so I'm not gonna do that. So we're going to react to it in real time so I don't misspeak on it, what is going on with them. So Princess Fergie, took her 2 younger daughters to go meet Epstein right after he got out of jail for being a pedophiles. You know how they said in the UK, a pedophile. Okay? And when you listen to the UK news, is the way they say certain words, it really make the word pedophile sound way worse than just it's a pedophile. Okay, so let's go ahead and go forward with it. You go ahead and play this real quick.
Donald Trump's Justice Department.
So this is Sky News Australia. So they're doing a lot of reporting on the royals and their issues. So let's show y'all that. All right. Make sure y'all subscribe to CNN.
It's just dumped the Epstein Files, 3 million pages and 180,000 images from the investigation into the late pedophile billionaire Jeffrey Epstein, friend of presidents, royalty, tycoons, and famous people all over the world. And this is just going to add to the disgust over how such a creep and a user, a man already convicted for soliciting sex from a 14-year-old.
And it's also alleged that Prince Andrew had an affair with Ghislaine Maxwell. And for those that don't know, I just found this out since I've been researching this, and I actually start watching the TV series. It is a TV series showing Prince Andrew and his drama with Epstein, and the guy that played Epstein looked just like him, straight up. And they depict Epstein as this, he's like the Godfather. He's like Michael Corleone of all of these presidents and people around the world. And they even got conspiracy theorists. Joe Rogan's talking about it as well, where they're saying that Epstein is still alive or whatever. I haven't covered that. So that's touching on conspiracy theory or whatever at this point. But we'll let it be known. But so Ghislaine Maxwell had an affair also with Prince Andrew, allegedly. And what I'm going to play later on is the interview with one of the victims, and who's been through so much mental suffering. She admitted that she had sex with Epstein. She admitted that Epstein introduced her to Prince Andrew. And as a result of the mental anguish that she's been through, she claims that she had sex with Prince Andrew when she was 17 years old. And also were involved in orgies and threesomes with other girls when it concerns these men. Okay. That were as young as 15, I think she says, in the interview that we're going to watch later on. But we're going to watch this first, and then we're going to look at the interview of the deceased victim, and her family, talking about all the turmoil that she went through. And there's a full interview, and I may do that later tonight. So come back later tonight. We might just do a whole review on Prince Andrew's interview when it comes to Epstein. Is very long. I could sit here for another 2 hours and show you guys that, but just want to give you a background on the ties So in the UK right now, what has developed, they have basically made it where Prince Andrew had to leave the royal estate finally. They told the staff there that they don't have to respond to him or serve him. So basically the staff went on strike with him and he was forced to leave the $56 million mansion, the mansion that he was residing in. The reporter would tell you a lot more about it.
Still had so many people at his beck and call, looking for maybe the young girls he pimped out, or the money he handed out, or the favours he might do. Now, top of the list of Andrew is Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew.
That is the prince right there. And look how small, and I got it in 1080p, so you can blow it up, but look how small, and this is a blonde-haired girl, so it could be the same girl that committed suicide. Who knows? But I know the girl had blonde hair and I think blue or green eyes, you know, and she took her own life. So this is serious, and she tears up. So when we play that, I want you to understand that this woman has been through a lot of mental anguish. She has been sex trafficked, and she went through a lot of suffering, right? And she was threatened. They destroyed this woman's character, all of that, right?
This time filmed propped over a woman like a hungry dog, other photos of him pawing her. And then there's the British ambassador, Lord Peter Mandelson, snapped here in his underpants. Epstein gave Mandelson and his husband more than $100,000, although Mandelson says, oh, I don't quite remember that. Strange memory. Mandelson has now lost his job as ambassador and resigned from the Labour Party. And there's so much more. I mean, Microsoft founder Bill Gates, he was at the Australian Open Women's
And for those that don't know who Peter Mandelson is, he's not that electrifying, but he's a big name in the UK. Peter Mandelson is that guy that was standing in his underwear with a woman right there in the room, like literally in the room with, and he's also that man that was getting the foot massage. So they didn't show it in this, but he was also part of the Labour Party, as the reporter talked about, and he was a lord. So they stripped him of his title as Lord. Okay. So there's also calls for Prince Andrew to be prosecuted for this girl and others sex trafficking. And Prince Edward, his younger brother, was the only royal to speak on that they have to look out for victims. So it looked like King Charles, my cousin King Charles, took the proper action as the head of state and the king to basically banish his brother Prince Andrew.
On Saturday, he was an Epstein crony, and Epstein claims Gates got a sexually transmitted disease from a Russian woman that Epstein supplied. Gates says.
So the rumor is in the Epstein files, there's an email that was sent by Epstein. The email between Epstein and Bill Gates, allegedly. And it was said that he got an STD from one of these women. He was trying to sneak medicine into his woman, Melinda Gates, his wife, Melinda Gates, food and drink in order to try to make sure that she's not sick as well, without telling her that he'd been cheating.
It's all lies. Epstein's emails, in fact, mention Russian girls so often and boasts of his Russian contacts so often and his pull in Russia that there's now suspicions that he might have even been used by the Russians to blackmail influential people. But who knows? Joining me from London is Monday regular and Talk TV host Samara Gill. Samara, great to see you again. Look, obviously the latest photographs and emails starring Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, that's the biggest news from this information dump, certainly in Britain. More embarrassment for the king to have such a brother.
You know, you're completely right. I think it's interesting, though, because the king has had more or taken more accountability for Andrew's actions than Keir Starmer has for Lord Mandelson. You know, the king was very quick in a way to cut off Andrew as soon as everything came out, you know, this past year. Whereas Keir Starmer, our prime minister, has not even removed the party whip from, from Mandelson. And Mandelson just resigned from the Labour Party last night. So it's interesting to see how the two characters are managing their acolytes. And I think.
And for those that don't know, Mandelson was giving insider trade, allegedly, was giving insider trader information to Jeffrey Epstein, and he was making boatloads of money based off this insider trading that was going on about how the UK government was going to invest or do whatever.
I think the king is coming out on top, even though Andrew remains a massive problem for them. I mean, I was just sifting through some of the emails last night and some of the things that Fergie said to Epstein. I mean, they're genuinely like Tweedledee and Tweedledum when you read what they said. Oh, please marry me. You're my favorite. It's like they would do anything for a couple of $1,000s, Andrew.
Oh, it is so grabby. I was so sick. And remember, this is a pedophile, a convicted pedophile. Even when they were trying to, wheedle favours out of him, they must have known. The British Prime Minister has now urged Andrew to give evidence in the US about his links to Epstein. Is that ever going to happen?
I think that with the Prime Minister's pressure, with potentially the King's pressure, who knows if that will happen, that.
Now, she's a real Australian girl. Like, she sounds just like she's really Australian.
He should. I mean, those images, as you said, are absolutely horrific. This is someone who is in line to the British throne. And the fact that he exploited for years, or allegedly exploited, many women. I mean, we talk about why don't other sort of victims come out? A lot of people say that because Virginia Giuffre is obviously the most high profile one. The reason is, yes, a lot of them were Eastern European Russians who couldn't speak English, who were vulnerable. Some of them were French as well. They preyed upon working class girls, many of them from very, very poor, underprivileged backgrounds, and totally exploited them. And Andrew should absolutely pay the highest price.
Okay, so we got that point. I want to go ahead and take y'all to the video that I want to do my main reaction on. This is 60 Minutes Australia, and that was Sky News Australia, giving credit to the content creator and the news outlet that provided us with that understanding for our reaction. All right, so we're going to go here. And this is what I want you guys to really pay attention to. This will let you know a lot more about the Epstein issue. There's another interview with Prince Andrew that's about an hour long. I may do that solely on its own later tonight. So make sure you subscribe and like, and we'll look at that. So Prince Andrew speaks on his own words about the issues that's going on. But the main thing is to put the victim first when it comes down to this woman took her own life, allegedly. But I do notice that when it comes down to Epstein taking, suicide is a common theme with these people that come in contact with these. Just saying. I'm not going to be on them too long because I don't want to. The next thing you know, all of a sudden I got a letter here and I done took my own life for whatever reason. Octavius would never take his own life, okay? Never. Okay? Let's get into it.
Coverage over the last couple of weeks, and this is largely due to leaked emails that have come, I think, from Ghislaine Maxwell.
Why do you believe Ghislaine?
This is over 2 months old, but they go into depth about Prince Andrew.
Maxwell is leaking these emails. Aren't they great mates?
I think Ghislaine Maxwell is still keen to get her pardon or to get some sort of cushy life. I think she clearly was friends with Andrew. I mean, they're former lovers. But I think So
Prince Andrew was tapping at one point, allegedly.
She's doing her own survival at the moment. And if that requires bringing Andrew down, then that's fine.
So by bringing Andrew down, she's protecting Donald Trump in some way? I mean, is that the motivation?
Yes, I think Donald Trump is worried about what Andrew might say. There's a lot of discrediting of Andrew in order to avoid any sort of scrutiny elsewhere. And this, I think, is very much a mark by Ghislaine to earn some brownie points with.
So, for those that don't know Prince Andrew, if you know Jeffrey Epstein said Prince Andrew was he was more into he said the only person he knew that was more freakier than him, like, you know, not in quotations, was Prince Andrew. He called him the king of kink. Okay, he's the king of kink, and there's even alleged accusations of him going to Southeast Asia, enjoying the pleasures of ladyboys. The reporter talks about it in this as well.
Donald Trump.
Some of these emails, if we look a little more at the details, suggest by Andrew's own admissions that he might have known Virginia Giuffre, that he did know Virginia Giuffre, that there might be a photo coming out. I mean, it reveals that he was completely misleading when he said he'd never met her.
Yes, I mean, I've known for a long time, and I put this in the book, that, I mean, you know, the evidence for their meeting is pretty overwhelming. I mean, this is from independent testimony and witnesses, apart from her own testimony and the things like the flight logs from Lolita. So,
that's the big.
I mean, it was very obvious that he was lying. I mean, he has a long history of lying, and he's got away with it in the past. But I think now, exactly, that there was this corroboration in the emails that he knew her, he'd met her, he was worried about the photograph, which everyone claims is faked. And indeed, I found evidence that he, Ghislaine and Epstein were working with a PR firm to try and discredit Jeffrey very early on.
Well, you reveal in your book that Andrew actually chose Virginia from a series of photos that Ghislaine Maxwell had sent him.
Yes, from two different sources. I mean, people have seen basically this book of photographs that would be circulated, and people would choose who they wanted to meet, and it makes sense. I mean, it's not a set menu, shall we say, and it was a la carte, and he was able to decide what he wanted. And I think it's pretty sordid. I mean, this poor 17-year-old ordered, like as you might order a takeaway. But this, I think, you know, points to just his sense of entitlement, the sort of element of droit de seigneur that he has. He doesn't sort of think of anyone except his own personal interests. And this is why I think he's found it so hard to make any sort of apology or to show any sort of contrition about actually what he's been up to. And this is just another example of the sort of nastiness, I suppose, of Andrew.
How much trouble do you think he's in?
Yes, I think Prince Andrew should be in big trouble. I mean, this is an effect.
Well, right now, he's in trouble. Okay, this is 2 months prior, all right? But right now, he's in trouble, and the people in the UK are a lot different than the people in the US. They are calling basically for his arrest, okay? And like I said, you see the way they say the word pedophile, there's nothing, they don't joke about that, you know? So we got a royal that is under fire for being with the 17-year-old girl, okay?
Here, there's problems under the Data Protection Act, malfeasance in a public conduct. He's placed as protection officer, paid for by the taxpayers, in a difficult position. And we need to discover whether that request was passed up the chain of command at the police or within the palace, whether actually he did make investigations. I suspect he did. I think there are many other things that he could be charged with. I think the sex trafficking of Virginia Giuffre. She was underage at the time, and people did ask for this to be investigated. I think 3 times the Met said nothing to see here. And I think also there's a case for his basically financial corruption, the way that he abused his position as the special representative for trade and investment between 2001 and 2011. He was helping his business chums do business, for example, in China and the Middle East, and he was himself doing business on his own behalf. And I think there's a strong case there for him to be investigated, charged, and I believe he should be convicted.
What do you think the chances are of that happening?
Well, we're at a tipping point. Public opinion is rather like the death of Diana, is way ahead of the palace. And I think they also want him to be investigated, to be charged, and I think they would like him to be detained at His Majesty's pleasure. I think they need to be able to start reading the room a bit better than they have so far. I think there will be, and the media...
So King Charles wanted him to move out of the mansion that he was in. It finally happened in the last 48 hours. The argument for Prince Andrew was the fact that he had a 75-year lease on the property, And after this bombshell of all these Epstein files coming out, him kneeling over that that young woman, we're saying little girl, but young woman or young female, we'll say. The royal family is have taken action to basically, dethrone him totally, take away his title. All he has right now is his name. So he's no longer labeled a prince. He's a royal formerly named. He's a royal, with the title, formerly titled prince. Okay. So he's not a prince anymore.
Picked up on this. There have been lots of editorials talking about the monarchy being in peril. This infection has spread into the wider body politic. I think it's actually, I wouldn't say it's going to bring the monarchy down, but it's certainly diminishing any respect there is for the monarchy and members of the royal family. It's affecting the government, who are fudging it and refusing to give parliamentary time to removing his titles, as people want. I think almost 2/3 of the population want this to happen. So I'm.
Also, we got the expert there. So give me a second. I'm gonna get the video of the young woman in the situation. Because that wasn't the one per se. "60 Minutes Australia."
Coming up. You met Virginia Roberts, dined.
Okay, we're going to go here. Okay, here's the victim.
In 2010.
So here's the victim. She's now deceased, but let me show y'all the victim.
That has long haunted him.
Real. And he needs to stop with all of these lame excuses. We're sick of hearing it. This is a real photo.
Taken by Jeffrey Epstein.
Taken by Jeffrey Epstein. That is Prince Andrew standing right next to her. And he made an excuse and said it was made up. So you see Ghislaine Maxwell standing in the back like a happy pimp. And you see the 17-year-old girl. She looks 17. All right. And you see a younger Prince Andrew right there. Okay. This woman is now dead. She had committed suicide.
By Jeffrey Epstein. And there's Ghislaine Maxwell. There's The Flash. That's me at 17. And that's Prince Andrew with his chubby fingers.
And we know what happened next.
And that's right before I was abused by him.
Sensationally, what has now come to light was an attempt by the former prince to smear Virginia's credibility on the eve of that photo first being published in 2011. In a move that is potentially illegal, Andrew asked one of his personal protection officers to dig up dirt on Virginia. A recently leaked email showed he told the Queen's then Deputy Press Secretary that he had given Virginia's date of birth and confidential social security number to the officer.
So basically, Prince Andrew doxed her in 2011. That's what they're alluding to. So for those that don't know about doxing, doxing is basically giving out some person first, last name, private information, and he went as far as social security number. And that should be something for the feds. If someone plays with your social security number, that is a federal crime. All right? That's a federal crime. So if that's something, the feds should have and did their job as well. You come to the United States all the time. You like the little white girls in the United States.
To investigate her. In her continued scrutiny of Andrew, journalist Emily Maitlis sees it as an intimidation tactic.
What was that like to learn?
Horrifying. I mean, it's horrifying, isn't it? That's how you do it. That's how powerful men shut down vulnerable women. And it's normally rich versus poor.
And this is just another example of the sort of nastiness, I suppose, of Andrew.
How much trouble do you think he's in?
Yes, I think Andrew should be in big trouble.
Now, I'm going to skip ahead. I really want to get her perspective on it more.
Andrew has claimed he felt it was necessary and honourable to end his friendship with the pedophile in person. In 2010, Andrew is seen peeking around the corner from the Epstein mansion here in New York. This was a man breaking off relations with Jeffrey Epstein, apparently.
I'm sorry, I'm calling BS on that one. You don't travel halfway around the world to break up with a friend. You don't. I mean, he's an idiot for even thinking that anyone buys that story. I don't buy it. Not for 1 second.
And this poor girl was her family even came out and said that she accused her father of molesting her as well. So she was groomed to be trafficked. Okay. And this is very sad.
He wasn't there to break up with Jeffrey Epstein.
And we had an opportunity to go for a walk in the park.
But in his bombshell interview with Emily Maitlis, Andrew was adamant the friendship ended forever that trip on December the 5th, 2010, after a heart-to-heart in Central Park.
By mutual agreement during that walk in the park, we decided that we would part company, and I left, I think it was the next day. And to this day, I never had any contact with him from that day forward.
That was a lie. Leaked emails between Epstein and Andrew show contact continued between the pair until at least March the following year. The most disturbing was sent.
So basically, they were besties. That's their bestie. They're besties. They were getting off on these, allegedly. Okay? I can't accuse anybody of anything. But it seems as if they were, well, we know Jeffrey was definitely on that type of time. But it was hard for their breakup. Okay. I would also suggest that a lot of you guys go and check out the movie A Royal Affair, with Prince Andrew featured in it. It shows, it's a great story. It's actually very entertaining, but it shows how Jeffrey was there to even help him out of debt, help him and, Princess Fergie out of debt. And, you'll see it as we'll move forward.
By Andrew to Epstein the day after the Virginia Giuffre photograph was published. In it, Andrew chummily offers his support. It reads, "It would seem we are in this together and we'll have to rise above it. Otherwise, keep in close touch and we'll play some more soon."
He said, and we'll play some more soon. Okay? It seems like we in this together, brother. Like, brother, it's coming down, bro. Like, the pressure, bro. My mama talking trash about it. You know what I mean? They done heard about me with these girls and everything like that. And so, once we rise above it, otherwise we'll keep close touch. We'll play sometime more soon, man. But the pressure on, my wife on my neck, my kids talking, thinking I'm a freak and everything. That's basically what that is. That's bro talk. Like, yeah, we'll talk sometime soon, bro. But we'll play. Okay? They were playing with them girls.
We're in this together. Let's play some more soon. I concede there are a million different explanations for what that playing might mean if you were a sportsman. Who knows? But in the context of an email to a convicted paedophile, it makes your stomach go. It is just a phrase that you cannot get out of your head.
How do you think that has affected public opinion in terms of, well, maybe giving him the benefit of the doubt after your interview and now being confronted with an email which shows that he was clearly lying?
But I think the response of the public was already ahead, certainly of us at Newsnight, certainly of where the palace was, and even of our sort of parliamentarians. I think people felt pretty shocked by what they saw.
But what they saw was only the beginning. Coming up, how depraved can one royal be?
Epstein described Andrew as the only person he's found that's more perverted than I am. He called him the king of kink.
You say the only person more perverted than I am, the king of kink. Rewind that.
One royal bee.
Epstein described Andrew as the only person he's found that's more perverted than I am. He called him the king of kink.
It could well be the biggest modern royal scandal yet. The former Prince Andrew caught in a lie over his continued friendship with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and his seeming attempts to smear the credibility of sex abuse victim Virginia Giuffre. Virginia took her own life in April this year.
I want y'all to hear that. For people that have, you got to understand when, like, you got to understand the damage it does to young people and kids that are victims of this and not even having the power over your own body. This woman later on took her own life due to all of this stress and even being, being put in a situation to have sex with these older men. And then also being targeted by the same men that she was having sex with, called a liar, and it plays, it's hard. Me being a YouTuber, I went through a lot of things myself, just being on YouTube with a small little sectors or whatever. And I'm in my 40s, but someone is 17 that's getting that Social Security put out, all their private information and getting targeted, pulling up dirt on them. And this is the same man that you've been having sex with. Same thing with Jeffrey Epstein. These are some powerful, powerful people. Okay.
And his seeming attempts to smear the credibility of sex abuse victim Virginia Giuffre. Virginia took her own life in April this year, but as she wrote in her explosive, posthumously released memoir, and as she claimed to me in 2019, as a 17-year-old, she had been trafficked to Andrew 3 times. The third time that you encountered Prince Andrew, were you alone with him? Was it just you and him at that time?
No, there were a lot of younger girls.
I'm glad this is one of the few faces that we can put a face on, guys. So,
girls
that are victims of Epstein and others
with us, and it was very shocking.
On this occasion, Virginia says she was joined by Epstein and 8 other girls to have sex with the royal. And when you say younger girls, what age were they?
I don't know, because beyond they couldn't speak English, we weren't really allowed to talk to each other. That was just one of Jeffrey's many rules. But they looked young. They looked between 16 to 20.
They did that to slaves as well. Like when you was on plantations, they didn't allow you to speak to your fellow worker that's picking cotton or doing anything. So this was slavery, a form of slavery as well. That's how you treat slaves.
Epstein described Andrew as the only person he's found that's more perverted than I am. He called him the king of kink.
Along with Virginia's allegation of sex trafficking, Andrew Lowney, who has written the royal's unauthorised biography, claims to have laid bare other potential crimes, almost all driven by Andrew's hunger for cash.
There was a case for his basically financial corruption, the way that he abused his position as the special representative for trade and investment between 2001 and 2011. He was helping his business chums do business, for example, in China and the Middle East, and he was himself doing business on his own behalf. And I think there's a strong case there for him to be investigated, charged, and I believe he should be convicted.
This is in the process in the UK. So hats off to the UK. They're moving very swift, with taking care of this situation.
Sarah Ferguson and the former prince may be divorced, but according to Andrew Lowney, they are united in their questionable grabs for money. Fergie's simpering emails asking Epstein for a loan and vowing she was on the sex offenders team exposes the depth of the royal couple's indebtedness to him and their continued and shameless contact long after they claimed to have ended the friendship.
So Princess Fergie have said, "I am yours and you on mine." I guess that's what it says, on mine. I guess you are with great strength and love. Well, with great love and strength. Oh, that's from, okay.
How much do you believe she was in debt to him?
I believe it's about 2 million. I mean, both Epstein and Sarah Ferguson don't deal in small amounts. But I've got two very good sources separately have said the same figure of 2 million.
Which nickname?
Randy Andy.
The young dashing prince, believed to have been the Queen's favoured child.
Oh, we're gonna skip ahead all right. We don't care about that. So this is the victim's brother right here. So like I said, the blonde hair, the blue eye. Epstein had this idea of that he wanted to create this master race like Hitler, and he's Jewish. It's crazy. But he looked like he liked the blonde hair, blue eye, little white girls. American white girls.
Justice would be taking the next step and putting him where he needs to go, which is behind bars.
So that's what you want to see. That's justice, that he goes to jail.
Anybody who is being implicated in this cover-up, whether it's a royal cover-up or a U.S. cover-up, needs to be put where they need to go, which is behind bars.
Andrew's public downfall started in 2019 with his pompous and at times preposterous responses to Emily Maitlis's extraordinary interview for the BBC.
She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because
this is like when you know someone. See, he ain't street. This is how you know someone lying. It's a problem with the sweating because I have quite a difficulty sweating at the time and had a medical condition.
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time. And that was,
and then there was this unlikely alibi.
With the children, I'd taken Beatrice to a Pizza Express in Woking for a party at I suppose sort of 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
Why would you remember that so specifically?
Because going to Pizza Express in Woking is an unusual thing for me to do.
I do have to ask you, how did you maintain your composure? I'm thinking of sweating, I'm thinking of Woking. How did you sit there and listen to that with such a straight face?
Yeah, sweating and working. I've never heard it put quite so concisely. But, you know, I was always really aware, Tara, that at the heart...
We know that's bull, whatever, so let's skip ahead.
Just another toy to be passed around. And that's what they did.
That's what you felt from Prince Andrew, that you were a toy?
I wasn't even in the category of being a human being. I was just a toy to be used.
No one knows better how serious or dark the allegations are.
So the name of the book that she wrote is Nobody's Girl, Virginia Roberts Guthrie. If your guys are interested in reading that, she felt like she would never have an impact on this world, but like as stated by her brother and sister-in-law, she actually is basically making world news right now. And she's probably one of the most important victims in this whole Epstein case, because how there's clear evidence, or there's evidence that is almost undeniable, almost unrefutable, that Prince Andrew did have some dealings with her. Okay. And it's sad that she lost her life as a result for speaking out. Or feeling depressed, or feeling like nobody for years and getting passed around like meat, okay, like a toy, as she described it. That can have a heavy toll on anyone's psyche.
than Virginia herself. She shares them in her memoir, not just those against Andrew, but also her harrowing encounters with others, including one of the world's most powerful and, as it turns out, violent men at the time.
I would be trafficked to somebody who physically, mentally, and sexually abuses you to the point where you don't think you're going to live, and then you tell Epstein about it and he sends you back.
When are you okay to go on? You sure?
Yeah, I'm just getting that one out. It's good.
So there was real fear for your own life?
Yeah. Yeah, there were times I didn't think I was going to live, and there was times I didn't want to live.
In 2019, Virginia also revealed her abuse started well before she met Epstein, at the hands of a family friend when she was just 7. What she did not say then was that her own father also molested her as a child.
So this young girl was groomed to be in this type of light, be in this situation. Because my thing is, how did a 17-year-old girl get in the clutches of a billionaire somewhere out of sight from the parent? I mean, that's a question that I have about that. You know, how did that even happen?
Allegation made in her memoir and strongly denied by him.
It was very, very hurtful to read it. I believe my sister. That's the thing. I believe her. We believe her. We've always believed her. I mean, he knows what he did. This is the first time he's even hearing me speak about this, Tara. Like, this is the first time he will even know that I'm coming up against him in some ways and saying, you know what? No, I believe her.
I can't imagine how difficult it is for you. I mean, what do you believe should happen to your father?
For me to not come out and tell you the same thing should happen to him, that should...
Now, I'm watching this in HD. I'm not seeing any tears. I'm going to be honest. Now, the girl does cry, but I'm not seeing any tears in his eyes. You know,
have happened to Prince Andrew would be remiss of me as a basic human being, and it's so hard to say as his son, as his child, to say, you know what? You should be publicly shamed. You should be shameful of what you did.
You know, how poignant is it that there does seem to be this groundswell of belief in what Virginia had to say and anger at what she had to suffer? How sad is it that that is being experienced after her death?
Part of us just wanted to call her and tell her that the truth is out for you to see, and the world believes you when they didn't believe you before. And that is just so bittersweet. And there is this chapter in the book where she says, I just want to make a small dent in this huge world. And when all these things came to surface with Prince Andrew, I wanted to tell her, man, you broke it. You broke the system, and it's such a beautiful thing.
She a hero. I mean, she the hero. It's the truth. Prince Andrew would not be going through this. A lot of the stuff would not be as put out there if it wasn't for this brave woman coming out, being doxxed by a prince of England, of all things. She made a change, and she felt worthless, but that her day has come. You know, thank God for that. Her day has come.
And you just made the biggest impact.
A big dent, not a small dent.
A huge dent.
Up next, with nowhere left to hide, will the disgraced royal make a run for it?
Do you really think that Andrew will flee, that he'll leave the country?
Ultimate humiliation for a royal, stripped of his title as prince.
So this, him being stripped has been for a while. That's his new wife right there, his 2 daughters. I think those are the same daughters that met Epstein. I'm not sure, but those are his 2 daughters right there. So let's go ahead and play for it.
but there may yet
Yeah, that's Fergie right there.
be worse to come.
Well, I think Andrew is still in denial. I think he feels hard done by. He cannot understand, why everyone's picking on him because he feels so entitled.
Entitled is the name Andrew Lowney gave to his unauthorised biography of the discredited former prince. The writer's deep insights gleaned from 300 people prepared to blow the whistle on the disastrous royal.
No one in the royal family likes him. He's made a lot of enemies on the way up. I don't think anyone in the palace likes him. So I can't think he's going to be left to hang out to dry.
The future for Andrew could become even more dire, with his role in the Epstein sex scandal leading to potential criminal charges. At the heart of this latest crisis are these damning emails that prove Andrew lied when he claimed he'd cut off all contact with child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in 2010.
So this is the boogeyman that's still living, y'all. So, Epstein's dead. Miss Guthrie is dead. But the boogeyman is living. The person that everybody wants to investigate and look at closer than anyone, even over Bill Gates, is Prince Andrew. Well, the royal formerly known as Prince Andrew. Right?
And that he engineered a smear campaign against Virginia Giuffre. Andrew Lowney is in no doubt who's behind the release of the explosive emails.
Andrew never really leaves the news, but there's been a sort of tsunami of coverage over the last couple of weeks, and this is largely due to leaked emails that have come, I think, from Ghislaine Maxwell.
Why do you believe Ghislaine Maxwell is leaking these emails? Aren't they great mates?
I think Ghislaine Maxwell is still keen to get her pardon or to get some sort of cushy life.
So Ghislaine Maxwell was she's like the boogeyman assistant, right? So she was like basically the trafficker for Jeffrey Epstein. She's doing time right now. So basically, as you heard Miss Guthrie talk about, you seen her stand right next to Miss Guthrie, who is now deceased, and Prince Andrew in that photo that Jeffrey Epstein took of them all three of them together. So, and also Ghislaine Guthrie is the former lover of Prince Andrew as well. All right, so I think, let me go ahead and do this. We have done enough on it right now. I could go deeper, guys, but matter of fact, let's do one more. I do want to all right, so this is a short video right here.
Royal correspondent Rhiannon Mills, who joins us now. So
we'll end it on this. I want you guys to make sure you subscribe to the channel. As you see, I'm immersed into it. I'm keeping up with the names. I'm following this. Prince Andrew, he's in the news, but I don't think people know how important he is. He is looked at now as the living Epstein. Okay, he's like the living version of Epstein right now. Epstein's bestie. All right. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Help me out just by subscribing. If you like this type of content, you like me reacting and digging up some things for you guys. I will be going live at another time to break down some of the more of the Prince Andrew drama and the Royal Lodge. I want to show you guys this with the Royal Lodge. So I want to prove all things that he's been evicted out of the Royal Lodge by, I guess, by King Charles himself. Okay. You hit that like button, subscribe button. Thank you. So let's react to this. I just want to use this news as a way of showing you guys what has happened recently with Prince Andrew. So he's basically been kicked out of the Royal Lodge, a $56 million mansion that he had a lease on as a royal prince.
Rhiannon, what have you learnt about this move then for the person formerly Prince Andrew?
So, of course, over the last few days, we have seen various pictures of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. It appears spending his final days, really, enjoying the Windsor estate out on his...
That woman next to him in the black hat that's Queen Elizabeth's younger sister.
Horse, waving to crowds from his car. But yeah, I have had it confirmed that his move from Royal Lodge has taken place, and that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is now a resident of Norfolk. Of course, we knew that this was coming. It was back at the end of October that it was confirmed that the King had firstly stripped him of all of his titles, but also had decided, look, enough was enough, and the optics of him living on the Windsor estate had just become too much, and it was time for him to move out of that large property on the Windsor estate. Now, the palace, it has to be said, they will constantly say they no longer speak on behalf of Andrew. He is no longer a working royal. But it is understood from palace sources that what they're seeing this as is really sort of a primary phase of a move that may take...
King Charles. So Big Brother Charles say, unasked. You got to unask the Royal Lodge. So King Charles wanted the Royal Lodge, which is $56 million, like 75 rooms. It like got 75 bedrooms inside of it. It's like a little castle all into itself. So King Charles wants to give that to the man on the viewer screen would be on the far right, standing right next to Prince Andrew, which is the Crown Prince, Prince William, who is King Charles's son. Okay, so he wants Prince William and his kids to go into that estate. He been wanted that since he became king, and he was asking Prince Andrew to basically unask the estate for his crown prince son, Prince William. All right.
Take some period of time, certainly from conversations I've had. Security is a really big issue that they're having to look very seriously at in terms of...
Yes, the monarchy does exist. For those that don't know, in England, the king can go, the parliament serves at the pleasure of the king. Now, who it was, King Charles, the first monarch to have his head chopped off in England. He disbanded Parliament at one point, and Oliver Cromwell, the Lord Protector, disbanded Parliament for a short period of time because of corruption, and he modernized in the UK in the 1600s, around that time. This is before America. The American Revolution was basically inspired by a lot of things, by the French Revolution, but also inspired by the memory of the Royalists versus the parliamentarians. They had a civil war in England. So one of the first civil wars that happened with the UK was within England. And the king said that the parliament serves at the pleasure at his pleasure. So yeah, he's a head of state, but pretty much the crown that Queen Elizabeth would wear, that one crown, I forgot the name of it, it is worth $15 billion alone. That's just one of the things. These people are money. Okay. They may not have like all the titles, but like King Charles, pretty much infinite money. Okay.
His accommodation on the Norfolk Sandringham estate. In terms of where he's moved now, you won't be surprised they aren't confirming exactly where he's gone to, but the property he's first gone to now, I'm told, is going to be sort of temporary arrangement for now, and then there'll be a further move in the coming months once all those final arrangements or final renovations are made. Of course, there is lots of discussion about the fact that that property is going to be Marsh Farm, which is close to the village of Wolferton, where actually the king was seen in the last couple of weeks.
That's his other brother, Prince Edward.
Attending a church service alongside the Archbishop of Canterbury. So yeah, Andrew will be right there in the middle of the Norfolk community. Has to be said, Norfolk, that area, they are normally very...
All right. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. So we did enough for today. I don't want to stay here too long. Thank y'all so much. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you like that fire content. I see y'all did. Y'all showed up. We got 446. I may be seeing less than that on the OBS that I'm on. But I thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming through. I thank YouTube for pushing me out to y'all. And look out for me. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you get the subscription at this point. Hit the like button. Don't be a hater all your life. And I'm finna get myself up out of here. Thank y'all so much. Hit that like button. Greatly. Let me y'all chat with me real quick. I'm gonna call your name. What's up, Joe? Cloud Gaming, Lori. Who else we got here? So if I miss you, don't take it too personal. You so shiesty. A lot of trolls in here, but shout out to the trolls. Ben, Timescale. Who else? Okay. S. Hussagen, what's good? I know I saw Kiki up in here. Pretty Purple Rain, what's good? ADOS Sky, Annie. Shout out to Annie, one of my top moderators in the building. Saw Cassie here. Shout out to Cassie. And LGI. Can't forget about LGI. One of my top moderators. So thank y'all so much. Michael Govan. What's going on? Eli Burry. All right. So I just